Hello there, everyone. Welcome to my Facebook Live. My name is Dara Walter, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and the owner of Pickled Peppers Creative Cafe at pickledpepperscreative.com. Hello, happy Thursday and happy Friday Eve. Welcome to my Facebook Live. If you don't know and you haven't been here before, Thursdays are the days that I like to come to you with a Facebook Live and share some crafty projects with you. So I come here to create with you on Thursdays. I see my friends are starting to show up. Anna is watching. Hi, Anna. My friend Amy is watching. Hi, Amy and Anna. Happy Crafty Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, hello. I see my friend Beth is here and my friend Marie is here. Hello. Happy Crafty Thursday, everybody. I am so excited that you're here, and I'm excited to have another opportunity to create with you. So I am super excited. How is everyone? How are you? Did you guys have a good Valentine's Day? I had a pretty good Valentine's Day. We don't usually do a whole lot because we've had a whole lot of Valentine's Day days, but we ate and that was super, super good. So Amy says, if you don't know, you need to know. Amy, exactly. If you don't know, you need to know. Oh, in fact, here, let's hook up while we're chatting a bit. I'm going to hook up to my other device here just so I can make sure that once we start creating, I'm able to see what I'm showing you. That's hugely important because my hands need to be positioned right. And I want to show you the exciting crafty thing that I came here to create with you. Actually, tonight we have two cards. So excited about that. Hi, Julie. I see my friend Julie is watching. Happy Crafty Thursday. I'm so happy that you're here. How are you? So why don't we go ahead and get turned down? Because like I said, I have two cards to create with you tonight. So I want to make sure that we have time to make them both. And I don't interrupt or disrupt your sleep time, right? Sleep is important. Ask me. Okay, let's go ahead and get turned down. Thank you guys so much for being here. I get so excited to share with you and to create with you on Thursday nights. Today's date, by the way, is February 17th. We are a little more than halfway through February of 2022. It's really crazy. Something that is coming up, speaking of February of 2022, February 22nd of 22. It's going to be 2222. I don't know why. I get excited when things like that happen. I just think it's interesting, and it doesn't happen very often, right? So, yeah. 2222. Maybe I'll have to do something special on 2222. We'll see. February 22nd, 22. Anyways, we'll chat for just a little bit and then we'll get started. This happens to be the host code for the month of February. So if you are placing an order in my online store for the month of February, you would use this host code. So this is what I call the host code of the month. And typically at the start of the month, I will post it on my business page and I will say, you know, February or March host code or something like that. This is not the host code that you would use if it's connected to an event. So this host code is all by itself, just for regular everyday orders. If it's a class or an event, it will have its own host code that is attached to it. And sometimes I'll embed the host code that goes with a class or an event. Sometimes I'll embed it in a link that makes it a little bit easier to order from. You can just click on it. But for regular orders, this is the monthly host code for February. Now, that having been said, if you didn't know, also, If you ever have a huge order and the minimum reaches $150, you would not use a host code at all, because at that point you get to redeem host rewards that you can spend to purchase product. You get to choose product from any of the current catalogs. So that's just a little tidbit to know about host codes. So I wanted to share that with you. And again, this is the host code for February. So I'm just going to slide this out of the way and show you the stamp set that we are going to be using. Now, I have my February monthly card class coming up. Actually, it's this weekend and on Saturday, and we are going to be using the Sentimental Swirls. I love this stamp set. I love flourishes. I love flourishes. This little bird is the cutest little thing ever. I love him. And so I created a couple of extra cards that are a little more involved than we would do in a regular card class like I'm having on Saturday. So I thought that I could show you a couple of extra ways that you could use this very gorgeous, gorgeous stamp set. I love this stamp set. I love it, love it, love it. Has a couple of interesting components. So why don't we go ahead and get started creating. So I'm using this stamp set. I do have mainly cardstock, so we don't really need to talk about paper, but I am going to use a couple of this Pick a Banner Punch. I'm going to use this one. We have two, right? So the other banner punch makes like the flag banners. It's like a flag banner and then the reverse of it, a pointed one. But this one I like because it makes fancy schmancy. I don't know what you would want to call them, but more delicate and pretty edges instead of a basic flag banner. So I'm going to be using this. And, oh, you know, I forgot to look for the name of this particular punch for you. I just call things... I call them what I see them sometimes, but this punch does not pair with this stamp set necessarily. However, the flower that you see here matches the smaller flower here on this punch. So we're going to be using that, so I can show you that as well. So I wanted to let you know that. And then we have a few colors of inks, and I'll tell you about those as we go along. So let's get started with card number 1. Okay, card number 1. I have just a few components here. It looks like I lost my inside. Okay, we have a basic gray card base. It is 8.5 by 5.5, and I have scored it in the middle here at 4 1/4. So it's half of a sheet of cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and burnish the fold right now. We like to do that so our cards lay flat and closed. And then I have a piece of, this is the Heart and Home Designer Series paper. I absolutely love it. I am sure you guys have seen it, and as long as I can use it, you'll see it some more because I love the wood grains. I love that this is light and you can stamp on it, and I'm going to show you that with this. So this is an 1/8 of an inch measurement. It's actually 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So that's kind of different. I like to try and stick to 1/4 of an inch because they're easy. You don't have to think so much. And if you are not the greatest with measuring, you don't have to figure out all of the little lines on your ruler or on your trimmer. So I try to stay away from them, but I wanted just a little bit of the real red showing. So this real red matte is 5 1/4 by 4, and I wanted the designer series paper to cover most of it and just have a little bit peeping out. And for that reason, I cut it 1/8 of an inch smaller. So that's a good way if you're not good with measurements. The main mat here is, like I said, 5 1/4 by 4. And then I just took it 1/8 of an inch down, which is 2 little lines. So that's what that is. And then I have a piece of red, real red, which is 3/4 of an inch, because remember, we're going to make a banner with it. So let's go ahead and get started with our stamping. The stamp set is photopolymer, which means they are clear and thin. And because they are, when I place them on the clear block, there's no cushion. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. It will give us the cushion that we need to make a good stamped image. All right. Now the card, let me tell you, is going to open like this. Okay. So because of that, we're stamping kind of across the grain of the wood. And I'm going to start with, since the card base is basic gray, I'm going to start with basic gray. And that big, gorgeous, lovely, lovely flourish in this stamp set, we're going to start with that. I love this flourish. I'm going to use this stamp set quite a bit. All right, let's go ahead and ink up the flourish. I'll try not to tamp on the stamp too hard. I don't know what it sounds like on your end. And then let's see, I'm going to stamp, I said it's going to be towards the bottom, so we're going to go towards the top and just apply a little pressure here. I don't want to go too very hard. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to show you with this stamp set, you can see the flourish that I made here. I want it to be a little more swirly curly. And a really awesome thing is that within this stamp set, they give you a couple of extra smaller flourishes that go in both directions. So one will swirl towards the right and the other will swirl towards the left. And I'm just gonna grab one. It's not important to me which one or which direction. I just want some extra flourish on here. I want it to be really curly Q. So I'm going to ink up the little flourish that we have, and then I want the very end of it to touch a line. And I don't really care where the line is. There we go. You see that? Is that fantastic or not? And you can't even tell that it wasn't from the single stamp. So I'm going to add a couple of those in, just in random places. There's a large opening here, so I'm going to do the same thing, just add a little bit of a flourish there. I didn't quite touch the line there, but I'm sitting back from the image a little bit so that my head doesn't get in the way of the camera, and you guys can see what I'm doing. So I was off the mark a little bit there. And maybe we'll grab the flourish that goes in the other direction too. I'm just gonna put a couple of more, let's see, maybe I can make it work with this one. Let's add one here, and how about one more? No, maybe two more. Yeah, let's see. I'll add one here, and I'm looking for balance, so I don't want it to be too unbalanced, and maybe that's enough. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll call that good. We'll put that flourish away. And the next thing I'm going to do is that cute little bird. Let me find him here. We're going to perch that cute little bird right here on that flourish because there's open area and I kind of saved it for that bird. So we kind of want his feet touching. There we go. Oh my gosh. Isn't that bird the cutest? I love that bird. And then we're going to stamp a few butterflies. So let's use a smaller. That butterfly is kind of small. And my sentiment is going to be here, so I don't want to cover my butterflies. So I'm going to kind of stamp them where we can see them, and the sentiment won't cover them up. And then the last thing I'm going to do, these are outlines. What I didn't tell you about this stamp set, and I'll show you in a minute, is that it's two-step stamping. And what that means is that the images that I'm stamping here, so the bird and the butterfly, and we're going to stamp a leaf. There are a couple of leaves there. They're open, but there are coordinating stamps that will fill this outline in with color. And so you don't actually have to color it. You notice how I am stamping the leaves and they're also touching the flourish. And, oh, that one's right off the page. That's okay. Okay, I think 3 is enough. So let me show you on the cover, and then we'll start filling in. If you'll look, the flower here, there are 2 of them. So the solid piece is intended to ink and stamp so that you can fill the flower in with color without actually having to use a marker or pencil. I like these 2-step stamping stamp sets, I should say. I like them because I can add a pop of color and I don't have to do a lot of work, so I tend to gravitate towards them. I have quite a few of them. All right, we're gonna start with, I am using Blushing Bride, and we're going to color our butterflies in pink. And if you know me, you know that I love pink. So, like I told you, the great news is that you can see through the clear black, so I can kind of see where to position I call them filler stamps. I don't know the technical name, but look at that. And the beautiful thing is that they're designed to kind of look like watercolor. So you know how watercolor bleeds outside of the line? If they don't match up exactly, I love that. I love the randomness of it. So I'm never very careful when I do those. And then our little bird, let's go ahead and close the pink up. Our little bird, we're going to stamp with Real Red. So let's go ahead and bring the Real Red in. And I'm going to grab the bird fill stamp. That's a Dee Dee. That's Dee Dee terminology. That's Dara Walter terminology. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of hover over the bird and fill him in the same way. And then we'll do the leaves. And I think other than that, we have the sentiment to stamp. And we're all done. So let's grab the leaf that has the 3. And let's see, I have 2 greens here. Let's use Pear Pizzazz. Okay, we'll go ahead and grab the Pear Pizzazz and ink up and fill in the leaves. Really quickly. You see how quickly that adds color? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And look how gorgeous the card is. Look how gorgeous this layer is all by itself. Don't you love the flourishes? That is amazing. Amazing, amazing. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll put away the Pear Pizzazz. And then I'm going to use Thank You. Remember the 3/4 of an inch piece of real red that I had? So there is a thank you sentiment, and we're going to use the thank you sentiment there. Thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. I love it when you guys give me hearts and loves. I love it. It's encouraging. It makes me excited about creating with you, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, let's move this out of the way. I don't want to get any unintended ink on it. I'm using the basic gray, and hopefully I got this straight. Yeah, I think it's good enough. Okay, let's move that right out of the way. And then we can make this into a banner and do some assembly, and then we're done. I think I want to, I'm going to cut the ends of this just a little bit. I don't want it to take up so much room on the front there, and I don't have to be careful about how I cut it. I just want to make sure it's kind of even on both sides. And the reason that I don't have to make sure that the lines are straight is because we're going to punch them. Okay, so let's open the punch, and I'm gonna use, I don't know, that's so frilly. This is a little more frilly, so let's use, I'm gonna use this one. It's a little fancier. So let me show you the front way. The punch accommodates 3 different sizes, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, and a full inch. And when you cut those sizes, your cardstock kind of fits into the groove. You see that? I'm going to push it all the way back, but I like to turn it upside down because that way I can see exactly where it's punching, and I can make sure that it's as straight as possible, because otherwise, I don't know about me, it wouldn't be so straight. If I try to do this without looking, oh my gosh, it wouldn't be very good. So let's go ahead and punch both sides. Oh, yay. Perfect. Okay, we can go ahead and put this punch away. All right, you guys know me. It would not be right if I didn't use a little bit of dimension. So I am going to attach, oh no, we can't put the sentiment on yet. Hold on. Let's go ahead and build our card. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Can't put dimension on it, then it would be difficult to add the layers. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put some double-sided adhesive on the stamped mat. And remember that real red mat, which is 1/8 of an inch larger, just so that we can show a little bit of that color. What it does is brings that bird right into the card nicely because they're both real red. And then let's go ahead and add some adhesive, and we'll add our layered mats right to the card front. Okay. And this is 1/4 of an inch, so we'll have a wider margin here. I love the fact that I can make things matchy-matchy with my Stampin' Up. The color coordination is amazing. It's one of the things that first drew me into Stampin' Up, aside from the fact that when I first started, or I was first introduced to Stampin' Up, it was in the days that we used letter stickers and oh, Mrs. Grossman, I think it was called, Stickers for Everything. And so the possibility of not having to buy stickers to use letter stamps and ink. And the other thing was the fantastic color coordination. Stampin' Up! Is wildly, wildly good at that. All right, so a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals on our sentiment layer. Peel the backing right off, and we're gonna pop our sentiment right here. Oh gosh, I can't cover my butterfly. Let's put it right here. There we go. So it's a simple thank you card. You could add if you wanted to. This card is really busy. There's a lot of detail there. So I am choosing not to add embellishment, but the embellishment, in my opinion, that you could really get away with are the basic clear rhinestones, right? You could sprinkle them around and make this even more fantastic, but I think it's really pretty the way it is. Do you guys like this? I think it's so cute, and the bird is so super adorable. Isn't that bird adorable? Love that bird. Let's go ahead and let's see. Let's see if this is the right mat size. Oh, it's a little bit big. We'll go ahead and cut it down. I think I'm gonna put that little bird. I'm gonna bring in my Stampin' Trimmer. I'm gonna add the inside to the card so that we can stamp that little bird again. We'll make the inside match the outside of the card. So I have a basic white card mat that is 5 1/4 by 4. Let's get that out of the way. And then we're just going to stamp a little bird on it because the bird is so cute and I love him. So let's do it again. We'll bring in the basic gray. And I'm just gonna put them here in the corner. I tend to decorate that corner. That's my go-to. So this time won't be any different. And then we'll get the bird fill. If you use photopolymer stamps, I have a few customers that like for the stamps to stay clear. However, red color ink, oh my gosh, look at that. I love it. Red color ink is going to stain your photopolymer. Actually, the black Memento may too. And if you use StazOn, the StazOn will too. StazOn has its own cleaner, so it has a special cleaner. But you're going to have to resign yourself to the fact that your stamps themselves will stain, but it does not interfere with the functionality. They will stamp good. As long as you take care of them, they will stamp good. So it won't harm them. They just won't be clear. And for me, that's not a problem. I'm okay that they're loved. How about that? Okay, and let's add the mat right to the center, and card number 1 is done. Oh, let's be a little fussy about placement here. Oh, I had ink on my fingers too. I see a little bit of red ink. That's okay. All right, there's card number 1. So let's go ahead with card number 2. And we're going to use the swirl again. I want to clean it off a bit because I don't want I'm going to use green, and I don't want the green to look gray. So I'm going to clean the flourish. There we go. All right, so for card number 2, we are using a an 8.5 by 5.5 card base. This is Old Olive. We have scored it in the center at 4 1/4 and then again at 2 1/8. Now, let's move this for a second. You would not actually have to score it at the 2 1/8 mark if you didn't want to. Let's burnish this so that our card lays flat. It's actually half of the 4 1/4. So if you wanted just to fold it back on itself, edge to edge, and then just take your bone folder and score it, that would work too. So you don't really need that extra score mark if you don't want to. I made it just so that I could show you and have it hopefully make sense how I folded the card base. Okay, so we have that. We have a piece of soft suede cardstock, which is 5 1/4 by 4. We have a piece of crushed curry, which is 3.5 by 4 3/4. And then we have a piece of basic white that is 3 1/4 by 4.5. And then for the inside, again, I have the basic white mat that is 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have some scrap here because we're going to punch flowers, or we're going to stamp and punch flowers from this piece. All right, so let's start with the stamping. And again, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. I have a little grid paper on it so that I can save it, okay, as much as possible. But if you look at it, I've gone over the edges, so it's not entirely clean. It's pretty loved. That just means that I create is all. Okay, so the orientation of this card is, the long way, vertical. There we go. It's vertical. So we're going to stamp up and down. And this time I'm going to bring in, since I have an Old Olive card base, I am going to bring in Old Olive ink. And let's ink up the flourish. I'm actually going to ink it lying down. And I'm going to show you something else really cool, the add-on to the flourish, like we did with the first card. However, I am going to, let's turn it. I'm going to stamp the flourish with the widest portion towards the top. There we go. And then we're going to add to it like we did the last time, but this time we'll be using the Old Olive. And then we're going to add a different leaf, and we're going to add it right to the flourish. So let's grab the extra swirl, and we'll add a couple of swirls so that we can make the flourish fuller. Actually, I stamped on the wrong piece. This is the inside of our card, so we have to do it again. Let's bring that flourish in. Like there's a, it's a good thing that each piece of paper has two sides, right? I'm still going to use that for the inside of the card, but we needed a much smaller surface to start with. So I'm actually stamping on the 3 1/4 by 4.5 piece of basic white. Okay, that looks better. We don't have so much space to fill in. Now let's bring in our flourish, and we'll just add a few extra in the same manner we did with the first card. Doesn't matter where you put them. You just want them to touch the flourish so it looks like it was meant to be that way. And let's just do, I think that might be good. That's good. There's another leaf And this time I'm not going to use the outline of the leaf. Like on the first card, we stamped the outline of the leaf with the basic gray and we filled it in. This time I'm going to use only the filler leaf. And I am going to touch the flourish with the filler leaf like that, and just kind of randomly add the leaves. Let's see, let's put 2 here. See if I can fit 2 in next to each other. And we'll add a couple more. I'm just wanting to make the flourish look fuller than it is. Let's see, is there anywhere else I can get one in there? I wonder, let's go ahead and stamp one there. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay. Okay, next we're going to grab the flower that coordinates with the punch that I showed you earlier, and this time we are going to use the background. I am actually going to stamp it in soft suede though, so let me grab the soft suede. And we'll set this aside for a moment, and I'll bring in a scrap piece of basic white. And I'm just going to stamp a couple of flowers using soft suede as the outline. And then I'm going to fill it in. So I'm going to grab the filler stamp and fill it in with crushed curry. I like that you can fill these in without having to color them in. So I'm going to go right on top of the fill. There we go. And then we're going to punch those right out and use them on our card. Okay. So remember, I like to punch upside down so I can see exactly where the placement is of what I'm punching. So here we go. Let's do this one first. Kind of line it up and punch it out. Oh, I'll punch the big one too, and then we'll do it again here. Whoops, let's do this. There we go. Okay, so these 2 flowers are what we want. Everything else is confetti. We don't need that. You could use it if you want to, but we're not going to use it. And then other than the stamping, which actually we can go ahead and stamp the sentiment, we're going to stamp happy birthday. So I'm going to bring in our flourish, and we'll put the happy birthday here. So let's go ahead and get that mounted up. And I'm going to stamp that with the soft suede as well. Let me bring that back in. Ink it up. And we'll put it right here. There we go. Okay, set this aside for now. So I think we're done with stamping. And let's go ahead and add our flowers just randomly. Wherever they look good to you is where you're going to put them. And I, of course, am going to use Stampin' Dimensionals. So I want to give them a little bit of a pop. And I liked the first one here next to that leaf. And we'll put this one here. There we go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive and we'll just start layering up. So I'm going to attach the stamped mat here to the crushed curry, and it kind of matches the flowers. And then I'm going to add a little adhesive here. So we're just layering up here at this point. And I'm going to add this layer to the soft suede. There we go. And then remember, our card base is folded. So when we add this, we just want the adhesive on the left side of the back. So we don't want this mat to stick to the inside of the card. We just want it to stick here. So I'm going to add a couple of layers of adhesive. Oh, let's move that out of the way. So I didn't go quite halfway. I went on the right side of the back and I did about a third maybe. And then I'll close this and we'll add this layer right onto the card. And then remember the inside that I stamped on the back of, we're gonna go ahead and use it. There's no reason not to. So open the card right up and add a little bit of adhesive. And we'll stick this right to the inside. The last thing I'm going to do is add some gems. So I am going to, because I just used cardstock and not designer series paper on this card, I do want to give it a little bit of a pop. So I am going to, these are the iridescent rhinestone basic jewels, and they are iridescent. This is a nice muted look, so there's not a whole lot of busyness in terms of color. So I wanted to kind of follow suit with the embellishment. And I'm just gonna put one in the center of each flower. Kind of didn't get that one in the right place. Here we go. And one more. There we go. You could stamp your sentiment on the inside before you added the inside mat if you wanted to. I like to leave my cards blank so that I can add the appropriate sentiment at the time I'm going to use them. But there is card number 2. Isn't this a cute card? And let's bring in card number 1. Let's move my dimensionals here. And then here's the first card. I don't know, that little bird gets me. What do you guys think about that? Oh, thank you. Michelle says love it. Thank you so much, Michelle. I think it's really cool, and I really like the fun fold on it. You could almost decorate the inside of this one as well. All right, that's what I had to share with you guys tonight. So let's go ahead and get turned up so I can tell you beautiful people good night. Here you are, all my lovely, beautiful stamping friends. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for letting me create with you. This is the highlight of my week. I say it all the time, and I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. All week long, starting on Monday, I allow myself the weekend, but starting on Monday, all I'm doing is churning in my mind what I can make when I meet with you guys again. So it is fantastic and therapeutic, you guys. Oh, thank you. Beth says pretty. Julie says love it. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for showing up for me and allowing me to create with you. So it was fun. I hope you liked tonight's projects. Remember, anything that you've seen tonight, if you like it, it is in my online store, and I will add it to the description above. Thank you so much for the hearts and love. They mean the world to me. Thank you so much. And other than that, I will be here with you to create again next week on Thursday. Same place, same time, God willing. I'm here if you're here. Thank you so much, guys. Have a fantastic weekend. If you are in Michigan or the Midwest, stay safe. Drive safely. The weather is kind of winter like it tends to do here. So stay safe. Have a wonderful and beautiful weekend. And I will see you all soon. Bye.